everybody, Sean Holsinger here from HolsingersFlyShop.com. Bringing you another time video today. Today, this is just one of those crazy patterns that everybody's talking about right now. A lot of guys are doing real good on it. I haven't fished it. I know I fished for flies very similar to it. I haven't fished this Keller, and I actually have other videos just like this, but everybody's using it, everybody's talking about it, so I'm going to tie it for you today. It is the pink lively legs fly, okay? More or less, it's a pheasant tail fly, pheasant tail style fly, tied with pink, hot pink pheasant tail, and I'm going to use a pink bead and the pink legs. They come in all the same sizes now, and so we're going to use that, and it's catching guys a lot of fish. So definitely you want to give this a try. Just one of those crazy flies to have in the box. You know me, I like things flashy. This fits right in. So let's get into tying it here. The hook we are going to use is a firehole hook, as normal. We're going to use a firehole 633, the size 12. I'm going to tie it in the size 12, more for the video, I think, a little bit. I'll fish it definitely in a size 12, but I'm going to go smaller too. I'm going to tie this down into 14s and 16s using the smaller size legs. The legs are going to be the small hot pink legs, okay? If I'm going to tie it smaller, I'm going to get down to the micros and the extra smalls to get on the smaller sized hooks. The bead we're using is a tungsten bead. This is a 2.8 millimeter bead, you can see there. From Nature Spirit. They're really nice metallic pink beads. I really like these, and I haven't had a whole lot of problem with them chipping yet. I haven't fished them real hard. I know a lot of times the metallic colors, especially in pink, tend to chip. But let's get into tying here. We'll put our hook in the vise. Like I said, it's a firehole 633, and you can weight this if you want to. I'm not going to weight this one. The thread I'm using is fluorescent pink, and it's a 70 denier. Use a 140 if you like. I tend to tie more with the 140 than the 70 because I tend to pull too hard sometimes and break this, but I'll probably break it once during the video, but hey, that's what happens when you tie. So, the first thing I'm going to do is start my thread on the hook. I'm going to bring it back to the bend, and I'm going to tie in some wire. For the wire, I'm using gold ultra wire in a size brassy. Okay, and I'm just going to tie that in. I like to tie it underneath and tie it right to the bend there where the pheasant tail is going to end, where the tail is going to start, I should say. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here to the front, and next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my legs. If I was putting lead on this fly, I would put lead where the legs are going to go. So like from here up where the legs will go, that's where I would put my lead on this fly. Like I said, I'm using a tungsten bead, so that's going to help get it down. Plus, I probably am not going to use this as my anchor fly. So, you know, I usually fish a stone fly a lot of times as an anchor, so this would be on with my stone fly. And from what I'm told, this is a stocky killer. This one hammers the stock trout, which is, you know, right around the corner here in our area. And I don't know where you guys are from, but the stock trout aren't the smartest. So what we're going to do is we're going to start these lively legs on the side, around the side of the hook, and as I tie it down, I'm going to cinch it down and it will pull it up on the top. Okay? This is the way we do all these, the same way. And we just, as we get it, see there, I broke it already. This is where I tend to tie it a little too tight. Whenever I get to tying those lively legs down, I like to cinch them down pretty good so they won't slide around when I'm putting the rest of the material on. But we're just going to rethread my bobbin here and get back to business. Okay, so no big deal here. We broke our thread. We're just going to start back on and start our thread back over, and then we'll just trim off those two tags, get them out of the way. Okay, then I just like to make sure I got those arranged where I like them. There you can see they're pretty well centered and pretty even. You can see I didn't ride around the hook there, you can see on there, so that's good. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pheasant tail fiber. I'm going to take and cut off about 6 or 8 of these, And I don't want too many more than that. I don't want the tail to be too big. But 6 is plenty, 8's, getting there. And then what I want to do, you see when you cut them off there, they kind of stack up. So I want to just straighten these up. So I get them pretty close to equal lengths. Okay, there you can see I got them pretty close to equal length. Then I'm going to pinch them in my finger here. And what I want is I want the tail about the length of the body, okay? The guys at Lively Legs, they tie their tails really long. I've said this in my other videos. I don't know why they tie them so long, but they catch fish, so I'm going to tie the hair longer than I probably would. But I'm going to get about 3 or 4 wraps there. And then I'm going to pull the pheasant tail back over top of it and wrap it down. So what I did there was I won't have a little tag at the back. I want this to go back so it covers up my thread and I have total pheasant tail fibers there. So now I'm going to use my rotary vise here. So I'm just going to bring my thread right back up here behind the bead. And then I'm going to bring my thread and put my thread on the arm there. And then we're going to hold our pheasant tail fibers and I'm going to rotate my vise around to get those right up there behind the legs. And it's only going to take like about 4 rotations. And you want to try to keep the pheasant tail fibers together, which I was kind of losing it there. There we go. And then get them right in there behind those legs. Once we get it in there behind those legs, we're just going to make a couple wraps, 2 or 3 wraps here. Make sure you don't trap them legs down. And we're just going to tie that off. Okay, then I'll bring my thread in between the 2 legs there to get it out of the way. And I'm just going to trim these off. Now, for my gold wire, when I put my gold wire on, I'm going to counter wrap that. Meaning that when I wrap my pheasant tail on, over the top, I wrap towards the camera here, okay, away from me towards the camera. So to counter wrap, I'm going to wrap towards me over the top and away from the camera. So by counter wrapping, what that will do for you will secure these fibers into place, and it will wrap these in the opposite direction. So it will, in essence, tie down all those pheasant tail fibers, which are very brittle, I guess is a good word when it hits the fish's teeth. Trout have very sharp teeth. They're very small, but they're very sharp and will tear a pheasant tail fiber up pretty easily. So I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to stop it right in between those 2 legs, and it's going to make a couple wraps, and we'll helicopter that off. Now I'm going to come back to my pheasant tail, cut another chunk of pheasant tail off. And this chunk I'm going to cut about the same size, about 8 fibers or so. And I'm not going to worry about lining them up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the pointy ends. I'm going to set those out towards the head, a little bit over the head, and I'm going to wrap them down on the top. And when I wrap them down, I'm going to try to keep all the fibers from bunching up. And I'm going to wrap them down behind those legs. Okay, there you can see I'm right behind the legs where I wrapped them down at. And then we're going to trim off the points, the tips of the feathers. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do, the last material I'm going to add, is I'm just going to add a piece of peacock curl. Take one out of the bag if you have it. I'm just pulling one off a peacock I had laying around the house here. And I'm just going to, what I did was I plucked off the end, not the end towards the shaft, okay, but the opposite end, the skinny end, and I tore it back. Whoops, there, I just made a strip peacock quilt there out of that one, so we're not going to use that. I tore it back into where it gets a little bit thicker, so it's going to be a little bit more durable, and I just popped it off with my finger there, and I'm just going to tie that down. I'm going to make sure I get it behind the back legs. And then I'm going to wrap this forward and wrap my thread right behind the bead. And then I'm going to wrap this peacock curl, and making sure you can wrap peacock curl over itself. It's no big deal. I just want to make sure everything gets covered in this area here. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple tight wraps in here, get it in front of the legs, over the legs, both ways over the legs, like figure eighting it. and underneath it, making sure I get covered underneath it. And like I said, this doesn't add a whole lot of bulk to your fly, so you can wrap as much, and I'm only wrapping one peacock herl in there. I'm not wrapping two. So that's all that's to that, and we're just going to take and make a couple wraps to tie this off. Okay, once we get her tied off, we'll cut it, or you can pull it. And then the last thing, I'm going to pull my wing case up over the top. Okay, now I made sure that I didn't trap the fibers too close together down here when I tied it in behind the legs. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to hold it on top to keep them splayed out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cinch it down easy the first 2 or 3 wraps, and then I'll pull it in. By doing that, that helps keep them from bunching up a little bit too. So once we get those pulled into place, it'll actually suck down in under that bead there. We'll just trim them off, and then I'm going to do a whip finish. Alright, now once I get my whip finish done here, I'm going to use a new product we just started carrying at the shop. You've been seeing me use a couple different videos here. I've been using Solarez. I love using the Solarez. Well, this is a new one we just started carrying. We started carrying the kits, where that comes with the thick, thin, and the flex. So I have the bottle from the flex. This is the bottle of flex. The green tube is the flex. And what it's going to do, I'm going to make my wing case on the top here, and it's going to make it flexible. It's going to make it chewy like, and I really like the effect this gives on it. You don't have a nice hard head on it, but it makes a nice hump to it. It protects it a little bit, protects it in fibers, and it's going to be like gummy, so it's going to be natural in the fish's mouth. More natural than, say, a rock hard, like the hard is. The hard is rock hard. When you put the hard on and it hardens, it's rock hard. This doesn't. This is very flexible. Okay, you can see how it gave that a nice little hump there like you want. And we'll just hit it with our light. And that's all that's to it. So there you go. Use this. It's a great pheasant tail pattern. If you don't have the pink, use whatever colors you like to use it, and give this fly a try. This is a fly that's a fish catching fly. It's a pheasant tail. You know, pheasant tails catch trout for years and years, for decades and decades, I should say. And this is no different. The only thing different about this fly is it's pink. So give it a try. I'm sure you'll like it. You'll have a lot of fun with it, and if nothing else, you'll get made fun of for having pink flies in your box. All the material you need to tie it, we got all of it. The pink pheasant tails, the pink legs, the pink beads, all that in the shop at holsingersflyshop.com. So please go there to check us out. Don't forget to subscribe as usual, and if you haven't already, and like us on Facebook and Instagram. I do a lot of my posting on Instagram, but I always share it to Facebook. So either one of those, follow me, follow the Holsingers Fly Shop or Sean Holsinger, either one. Love to have you there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, I'm Sean Holsinger.